Oh, man, you're the greatest.
While I was governor, I could have pretty much gone to any home Bears game I wanted. Um, and I only went to one. But there's a story behind the one, Joe. And you know what that is?
I know the story.
I'll share it with our
Yeah,
listeners.
it's a good
So it was
story.
October, what's that?
It's a good story, and it just fits your personality to the T.
Well, it was really interesting because it was October 2003, and it was, 2 seasons before the Bears would go on to the Super Bowl. But the Bears had just renovated Soldiers Field, and this was going to be the very new first home game at the new, improved, renovated Soldiers Field. And I wasn't going to the Bears game for that reason. I went because Elvis Presley's wife, Priscilla Presley, asked me if I could take her to the game. Now, how did that happen? There's a long, long story behind that. I won't burden our listeners with how that all began, but I will save that maybe for a separate episode. But anyway, so I had a chance to get to know Priscilla just a little bit, and Lisa Marie Elvis's daughter. I met her once. She performed at the Illinois State Fair when I was governor. But Priscilla had gotten to know just a little bit, and so she was in Chicago that weekend, and asked me if there was a way where I could get her tickets to be able to actually go to the game because she was a big Brett Favre fan, and there was the Packers coming to Chicago to play the Bears. And when Elvis Presley's wife asks you to do something and you're a big Elvis fan like me, and you're the governor, you've got the power and the resources to make it happen. That's right. You pretty much drop everything and you do it. And you do it with a lot of enthusiasm. And as Elvis would say, it's TCB, you take care of business, because in a flash, that was his phrase. And I did. And so I was able, because I was the governor, to be able to arrange for us to watch the game in one of these boxes, these corporate boxes, real nice. And Priscilla and I and the security people were with me. And she brought her grandson with her, Joe, and he was a young boy, maybe 12 years old. Just last year, he took his own life. It's just so heartbreaking how life can be difficult. But he was just a little boy then and looked like his grandfather. He looked like Elvis in some ways. And he was just a little kid. And so he was there, and he had gone to a 49ers game in San Francisco where the Packers played the 49ers. And he and some of the other little boys he was hanging around with, because of his connections, were able to get on the field. And as the Packers were walking off the field, Brett Favre handed him his Green Bay Packers helmet. And so Priscilla was determined to try to not only watch Brett Favre play that game, but as we're watching the first half of the game, she's telling me this story. And so then she says, do you think there's any chance that maybe you might be able to arrange for us to go down and actually meet Brett Favre when this game is over? Okay, now here you got Elvis's wife, who's used to getting a lot of stuff in life that most of us don't get, right? Being sort of the king of rock and roll's widow and wife, she's kind of used to getting her way, and she knows how to kind of get people to do things for her. So she kind of slid that into me, And here I go again. Of course, I'm totally eager to do whatever I can to please her. So I was the governor, and it just happened that the head of the park district was in that field. We found him. Again, you have these resources where you can find people. And of course, he really wants to kiss my ass, Joe, because I have a big say in $60 billion of the state money. The Chicago Park District wants some of it, right? So he goes out of his way to arrange that when the game is over, we're going to be able to go down to the locker room of the Packers outside of it and wait, and that they'll work it out with the Packers officials and see if Brett Favre would be willing to do it. That was the only question. I had done my part. I had arranged for us to get down there. The question was whether or not Brett Favre would say yes or no. I had every reason to believe that Brett Favre, as great as he is, wasn't going to turn down a chance to meet Elvis's wife. So the chances were pretty good that he would say yes. But in the interim, Joe, you know what else happened?
What's that?
So halftime comes and goes, and she's now got me working on meeting Brett Favre, and I've done that. I've arranged for us to see him after the game if he says yes. She then says, do you think, Governor, there's any chance that maybe we might be able to watch the second half on the field? Right? She wasn't satisfied with that beautiful seating that we had in that box, that sky box. She actually wanted to go on the field and watch the game. So guess what I do?
Yeah, you asked somebody.
I went and got that Park District guy again. And of course he says, yeah, Governor, we'll arrange it for you. And so we do it. The halftime comes and goes. It's the third quarter. They're about to do the opening kickoff of the third quarter. And guess where I was standing, Joe?
Wrong sidelines.
I was standing with Priscilla Presley, not on the Bears side of the field, but on the Packers side of the field, because that's where she wanted to stand.
Was that a politically wise decision to make?
It was a politically unwise decision, and I was recognizable and recognized by legions of loyal, loving, faithful Bears fans who took offense to the fact that their governor, and I'm sure many of those guys voted for me, was standing on the Packers side of the field. And whether they recognized her or not, what am I doing there? That's their point of view, right? And man, I was hearing it. Hey, Governor, what are you doing on the Packers side of the field? Get the F off of that side. Go to the Bears side. Whose side you on? All kinds of stuff, right? I'm standing there. She can hear it too. And she's more amused, and she's not at all concerned about my political fortunes. I feel myself every second of that game. I'm hemorrhaging votes, standing on the sidelines with Elvis's widow, watching the Bears and the Packers, and I'm on the Packers side of the field. And what added insult to injury, Joe, guess who won that game?
That's got to be the Packers.
It was the Packers.
Oh, man, you're the greatest.